They say men are visual creatures. That's only partially true. Yes, we notice a smile, a confident posture, or a style that hints at personality. But few people realize this. A man's brain can be influenced through his nose. That's right. The fastest route into his thoughts and his emotions isn't just through conversation or food. It's through scent. It may sound unusual, even poetic, but science backs it up. Scent is memory. Scent is emotion. The male brain processes smells in the same areas that govern instinct, attachment, and emotional responses. When someone wears the right fragrance, it isn't just a scent. It's a way of embedding presence in another person's mind. Today, we'll explore 7 scents that do this powerfully. Fragrances that don't just please, but linger in memory, evoke comfort, and create presence. He could be at work, walking through the park, or stuck in traffic, and suddenly, for no clear reason, he recalls you. In a meeting, pretending to focus, a faint trace of a fragrance brings you to mind. Think about it. You can wear the trendiest outfit or the most carefully chosen accessories, but if your scent doesn't match the impression your presence conveys, you risk blending into the background. When it does align, though, the effect bypasses logic. Scent travels straight to memory, emotion, and that quiet part of the brain that decides familiarity, safety, and impact. You may forget the words or the outfit, but the scent lingers. That's how primal and memorable it is. Let's begin with scent number 1, vanilla. Vanilla sounds gentle, comforting, cookies, blankets, childhood, yet it quietly influences the mind. It triggers nostalgia, warmth, and a sense of calm. When someone smells it, signals fire in their brain, safe, calm, at ease. Vanilla reduces anxiety, lowers blood pressure, and relaxes the body. It evokes comfort, becoming associated with calm and reassurance. A faint hint of vanilla can leave a lasting memory, blending into the atmosphere and creating a sense of ease. Next, scent number 2, lavender. Lavender isn't just fresh. It lowers mental defenses. Clean, gentle, and subtly intriguing, it relaxes the mind and body while stimulating curiosity. Studies show it reduces stress, soothes nerves, and supports circulation. Lavender links presence to comfort, calm, and fascination, encouraging reflection and attentiveness. It quietly creates connection without overt action. People may not even realize why they feel drawn or attentive. It's a subtle, subconscious response. Lavender fosters emotional openness, encouraging conversations, trust, and comfort. Then comes jasmine. Jasmine isn't just floral. It captivates attention and evokes fascination. Its chemistry engages the mind and body, creating awareness and focus. History shows jasmine has long been used for its presence-enhancing qualities. A faint hint can spark recognition and recall, making the wearer memorable without overt effort. Jasmine quietly signals uniqueness and presence, ensuring attention remains focused and memory is engaged. These first 3 scents, vanilla, lavender, jasmine, create a foundation. They relax defenses, engage curiosity, and leave an impression. The next scents build on this, deepening presence and connection in subtle, lasting ways. Sandalwood is next. Earthy, warm, and grounded, it creates a sense of stability and focus. Its natural richness signals calm, balance, and confidence. Sandalwood draws attention subtly, anchoring the mind to presence and creating awareness of care, warmth, and grounding. It communicates strength without words, inspiring focus and attentiveness. Rose follows. Classic yet potent, rose represents emotional presence, care, and connection. Its scent evokes comfort, empathy, and attentiveness. It signals depth, understanding, and sincerity. Rose grounds presence in emotion, enhancing memory and fostering an environment of calm and attentiveness. Its combination of strength and gentleness communicates care and reliability. Each of these scents, vanilla, lavender, jasmine, sandalwood, and rose, works in harmony. They create layers of comfort, curiosity, calm, grounding, and presence. Scent becomes a bridge between emotion and memory, allowing influence without words, commanding attention through subtle cues, and creating impressions that last long after a person leaves. It's not manipulation, it's presence amplified by biology and memory. When you wear a fragrance intentionally, you're doing more than applying perfume. You're shaping presence. You influence how people experience you, how they respond, how their thoughts linger, and how their memory holds on to you. That's why months later, a whiff of the same scent can transport someone back, awaken a familiar feeling, a quiet spark of recognition. It's not just nostalgia, it's imprinting. Lavender, jasmine, sandalwood, rose. These are more than just aromas. They are atmospheres, emotional cues, personal signatures. You become unforgettable, not because of what you say, but because of how people feel when they are near you. That is the kind of influence no conversation can replicate, the kind that lingers long after you leave. Rose, in particular, speaks to the oldest part of the human brain. It calms, slows the heartbeat, eases the breath. It conveys a silent message. This is a safe space. For anyone, that instinctive reaction becomes something profound. It whispers, I can relax here, I can feel calm, I can trust this presence. People carry armor through life. They project strength, control, composure, yet beneath it, they seek calm, reassurance, peace. Rose pierces that armor. It reaches past thought and touches something deeper. One breath and tension eases. The mind quiets, imagining peace and stability. Your voice, your warmth, and the scent of rose, blended with your presence, draw people closer without conscious effort. Rose evokes trust, steadiness, and reliability. It hums permanence. It plants the idea that your presence is grounding, dependable. It evokes slow mornings, quiet laughter, shared moments of calm. Rose smells like consistency, like support that endures even when life is loud. Then comes citrus, a lively burst like sunlight on skin. Lemon, orange, bergamot, bright, sharp, alive. Citrus awakens the senses and lifts the spirit. It tells the brain, be alert, feel alive. It triggers energy, fills the air with vitality. When you wear it, you become movement, laughter, joy. People associate citrus with freshness, vitality, and new beginnings. A trace of lemon or orange shifts attention instinctively. You enter awareness not through words, but through memory and feeling. Citrus is playfulness, energy, spontaneity. It draws people toward lightness and optimism. Finally, there's the most underestimated fragrance, your natural scent. No label, no bottle, no price, just your presence, warmth, individuality. Often forgotten, it is one of the oldest and most powerful signals. Your natural scent communicates subtle cues before logic arrives. People may not know why they are drawn to your presence, only that it feels right. That is why proximity becomes comforting. Your natural scent becomes stability, reassurance, memory. It cannot be replicated or forgotten. Years later, a subtle trace can evoke vivid recollection. Now, the full picture. Vanilla calms and comforts. Lavender steadies. Jasmine blends innocence and curiosity. Sandalwood awakens instinct. Rose teaches trust. Citrus brings joy. Your natural presence ties it all together. Scents are more than smells. They are memory, emotion, and influence. You become more than admired. You leave an imprint. Words may fade, but scent and presence linger. A faint trace carries people back to the feeling of that moment. That is the quiet, invisible power of fragrance. Perfume is art, psychology, and communication. It is presence made permanent. When you choose a fragrance or none, you shape how you will be remembered, the feeling that lingers after you leave. Every scent tells a story. Some whisper, some command, some linger quietly. What is your signature? Vanilla's calm warmth, rose's steady reassurance, jasmine's curious allure, citrus's lively brightness, or the quiet power of your natural presence. The science of scent is the science of memory. It is how presence becomes unforgettable, how feeling outweighs words, and how subtle cues create lasting connections. You begin to notice the subtle ways the world responds to your presence, the invisible strings that connect thought, action, and perception. Every choice, no matter how small, becomes a ripple in life's flow. Your attention is no longer passive. The air you walk through, the rooms you enter, the people you meet, all are affected by your inner state. Life is no longer a series of events happening to you, but an ongoing conversation between consciousness and the world. The fragrance you wear, the words you speak, the intentions you hold, they are all notes in a symphony that extends far beyond immediate perception. When you step into a room now, there is a different kind of awareness. It's not about impressing others or claiming attention. It's about aligning with the subtle currents of energy that flow through every encounter. The scent of rose lingers, the citrus of possibility floats in the air, the grounding sweetness of vanilla anchors your presence. People feel it, even if they cannot name it. They respond not to words, but to the invisible resonance of being. In turn, you feel their response, a feedback loop of awareness that teaches the unspoken rules of interaction and influence. You also begin to notice your internal landscapes with sharper clarity. The hall of mirrors, once a maze of reflection, becomes a space to observe without being trapped. The arena of comparison no longer dictates value. You see achievements and setbacks as information, not judgment. The theatre of masks no longer forces performance. You choose authenticity intentionally. The room of silence becomes a sanctuary, not a prison. The storm of noise cannot overwhelm you because you have a calm centre. The chamber of self-betrayal no longer tempts. Your own knowing guides choices. And the basement of shadows, once feared, becomes a treasure trove of insight, vitality, and potential. Every day you practice small acts of liberation. You leave the hall of mirrors by acknowledging distortions without reacting. You step out of the arena of comparison by quietly celebrating your own progress. You remove masks deliberately, letting authenticity shine. You speak your truth softly, letting it echo in your own heart before reaching anyone else. You turn down the storm of noise, creating pockets of stillness where your mind can rest. You honor yourself instead of betraying yourself. You descend into the basement of shadows with curiosity, allowing suppressed parts of yourself to speak and be heard. Through these actions, transformation becomes visible not only within yourself, but in the spaces you inhabit. Relationships shift, not because you demand change, but because your presence no longer participates in fear or control. People respond to authenticity and courage, even unconsciously. By showing that leaving dangerous patterns is possible, others begin to question their own. Your life becomes a quiet example, demonstrating alignment with inner truth rather than external expectation. Liberation is contagious, not loudly, but naturally through example. The scents you wear complement this inner work. Vanilla, lavender, jasmine, sandalwood, rose, citrus, and your natural presence are invisible threads amplifying your influence. You understand the dance between perception and memory, how a faint note can trigger feelings of safety, joy, or admiration. As consciousness shapes reality, presence shapes emotional landscapes. You move intentionally, understanding that every detail, every nuance, every trace left behind has a consequence. Your presence becomes a language, speaking without words, embedding itself in the hearts and minds of those around you. Finally, you realize the practice is infinite. Every choice, every shift in awareness, every scent, every interaction is part of the ongoing performance of life. You are both player and observer, composer and instrument. The dangerous places remain, but their hold diminishes as conscious engagement grows. The hall of mirrors no longer frightens. Reflection is not reality. The arena of comparison no longer pressures. Your value is inherent. The theatre of masks loses power. Authenticity is default. The room of silence becomes sanctuary. The storm of noise is manageable. Inner calm is steady. The chamber of self-betrayal is guided by truth. The basement of shadows becomes strength and creativity. Every day you practice presence in small ways. You notice sunlight falling across a table and feel gratitude. You notice your breath connecting with your body. You pause to listen, to smell, to observe, to exist without expectation. These small moments accumulate into mastery, a mastery not over others, but over alignment with yourself and life's currents. Influence is not dominance, it is resonance. It is understanding the language of perception, memory, and subtle cues that guide attention and emotion. As your inner world shifts, so does the outer. Situations once confusing now offer opportunities for growth. People once distant now respond with curiosity. Life once rigid and daunting becomes a canvas of possibility, painted with intention, observation, and presence. What seemed chaotic is a complex interplay of forces responding to consciousness. The scent you wear, the choices you make, the truths you honor, all are notes in a symphony extending far beyond the immediate moment. You begin to grasp the beauty of impermanence, realizing that life shifts with each moment and that the only constant is awareness itself. The body changes, circumstances evolve, people come and go, yet your underlying awareness persists, observing, learning, and responding. Each day, challenges and obstacles lose their hold, not because they disappear, but because your conscious attention no longer gives them power. You navigate the world with intention, poise, and curiosity, understanding that every interaction reflects your inner state and presents an opportunity to grow and deepen your insight. You begin to grasp the beauty of impermanence, realizing that life shifts with each moment and that the only constant is awareness itself. The body changes, circumstances evolve, people come and go, yet your underlying awareness persists, observing, learning, and responding. Each day, challenges and obstacles lose their hold, not because they disappear, but because your conscious attention no longer gives them power. You navigate the world with intention, poise, and curiosity, understanding that every interaction reflects your inner state and presents an opportunity to grow and deepen your insight. As you move through the world, you notice the subtle interplay of cause and effect, how your actions ripple outward, affecting not only yourself, but the environment around you. Moments of silence, once overlooked, begin to carry meaning. The pauses between breaths, the quiet spaces between words, the stillness of a sunlit room, all become reminders that life is not merely a sequence of events, but a flow of experience to be embraced fully. You begin to appreciate the small details, the way sunlight dances on leaves, the pattern of clouds drifting across the sky, the laughter of children carrying a genuine lightness that is unshaped by expectation. You also recognize the lessons hidden in difficulty. Discomfort, disappointment, and uncertainty are not enemies, but teachers in disguise. They invite you to cultivate patience, resilience, and perspective. By observing without judgment, by responding with clarity rather than reaction, you allow yourself to remain steady even when the world shifts unpredictably. Every encounter, every challenge, and every fleeting moment becomes a mirror, reflecting your growth and offering new opportunities to refine your understanding of life's ebb and flow. With time, you learn to move with grace and awareness, unhurried yet deliberate. You discover that true strength is not in forcing outcomes, but in aligning your choices with presence and clarity. The more you practice this conscious engagement, the more ordinary moments transform into profound experiences. Walking down a familiar street, sharing a conversation with a friend, or observing a quiet sunset, each becomes a touchstone for mindfulness, a reminder that depth and meaning exist not only in extraordinary events, but in the rhythm of daily life. Ultimately, you understand that awareness itself is the greatest guide. It is the quiet observer that never leaves, the steady presence that can navigate change with ease. In this awareness, you find freedom, not from life's uncertainties, but from being overwhelmed by them. You move through the world with curiosity, openness, and compassion, aware that each moment is a chance to learn, to connect, and to fully inhabit the life unfolding before you.